All right, we are live and it is 5:30. If you're watching this live on Facebook, 5:30 on a Sunday night. If you're watching this on YouTube, well, it's just as good for you because I've got some really, really awesome stuff to share with you tonight. What do you think that the one thing that companies like Airbnb, Reddit, what other? I named a few other. Dropbox, Instacart. There are even more. Hold on, let me just dive into this list of people. Did I say Reddit? I said Reddit. Weebly, Stripe, Vidyard, Clever, LendUp. Oh, one of my faves, Twitch. What do you think all these companies have in common? No, they're not tech startups, but they did all go through Y Combinator. So let me explain about what Y Combinator is for those of you that don't know. Paul Graham, who is a serial entrepreneur, founded this thing called Y Combinator. Now, Y Combinator is a startup accelerator and seed capital firm, meaning Y Combinator helps these like small businesses, gives them a small, very small seed amount, their first ever round of funding to like go and take and just do, right? And they go to Silicon Valley for like 3 months, they get mentored, they learn, they use the money wisely, and they hustle. And I'm going to get into what hustle really means in just a second. But Paul Graham teaches all of these things within Y Combinator. And it's kind of like a really big deal if you get accepted into Y Combinator. Well, recently, and this is December 17th, 2017 right now that I'm talking, this past week we did an interview with Cam Duty. Cam Duty is the co-founder of Bellhops, which is a moving service company that offers high five moving service. So Bellhops is a monstrous company. I think they've had like over 25 million in funding, and Cam is such a cool dude. But he challenged me in this episode, and it was very interesting. And I know I'm supposed to like tease these episodes out and like not tell you everything, but screw it, man. I got to let it go and tell you this because it's amazing. He challenged me to what hustle, like the terms like the hustle, what a hustle is, like you got to hustle through it. He challenged me to think about what that actually means. So he told me that he learned from Paul Graham, who again is the founder of the startup accelerator and seed capital firm Y Combinator. Big businesses. Airbnb has been through this. Dropbox has been through this. Weebly, you name it. He told me that this guy tells people that hustle means doing things that you can't scale. Okay, did you hear that? So hustling means doing something that you can't scale. Let me check out this camera, make sure I'm here in focus. You cannot scale it, okay? That is what the hustle really is. So many people out there are like, yeah, I'm grinding through the night. Like it's 2 a.m. I'm like drinking my last cup of coffee. I'm just dead. I'm just grinding. Now I'm hustling. That's not necessarily what hustle, true hustle in the flesh means. So let me give you an example of what really hustle means. Doing something that can't scale. And Cam shares this on podcast. That's episode 20 of the Millinovator podcast. Cam shares this, but he tells me that when he was in school at the university that he founded Bellhops at, he was like dorm room movers or dorm room dudes or something at the time. He was moving people out of their dorm room and into another dorm room. And he was literally their first like launch day, their first ever day to like make revenue. They're doing it big. They had tons of people. Everything was nuts, but he was, excuse me, he was checking things off of a clipboard on a list and on walkie-talkies with bellhops movers. Is that scalable? Like, no, not at all. That's not at all scalable. But you should not worry about that. You should not focus on doing things and worrying about like, I can't scale this today. It's the scalability of this is not going to happen. Just focus on 3 things, and I'm going to tell you why and what those 3 things are in just a second when I give you one more example. So another really cool example of this is with Airbnb. The 2 founders of Airbnb went out and took photographs to showcase their first 1,000 apartments on the website, okay? Throughout San Fran, they took 1,000 apartments and went to the place and took photos of them, met the owners of the apartment, took pictures of the apartments to showcase them on Airbnb's website. 1,000. Like, is that scalable? Do you really think those 2 dudes could go across the world taking pictures? They couldn't even hire like humongous photography consultants or groups to take photos of all the apartments and houses on Airbnb. There's physically no way that they could scale that. But they didn't care. It didn't matter. Look, what they did was not scalable, but it caught attention, it created a splash, and it gained traction. Okay? 3 things that hustling can do. And you need to focus on those 3 things while you're doing it. Because again, the hustle is not something you can scale. So you dang sure better be blowing it out of the water while you're doing it if it's something you can't scale. So you need to make sure that you get attention, that you create a splash, and that you gain traction from doing whatever hustle it is that you're doing. And again, I'm not talking about your side hustle. I'm talking about the hustle within your side hustle. So Cam mentions this in episode 20 of the podcast. And I think I'm going to release this episode this week because I loved it so much. And I'm so fired up to get it in your ears. But if you're on YouTube, like years from now, you can just go ahead and search Millennial Podcast episode 20 and hopefully it's there. But he mentions that you never stop hustling. Like there's all sorts of phases in your business, right? And I promise I'm going to quit soon because it's 6 minutes in and I could talk about this for hours. I really could. But you got to realize like the hustle, it never goes away. And it's never the easiest thing to do. It's never the easiest option, right? So Cam mentions this. Like I told you already in the beginning, he was hustling. He was signing off on a checklist. He was on walkie-talkies with dudes. Like you can't scale that. Okay, and now here they are, like fast forward like 7, 8 years, right? Here they are today, 2017, at the end of the year. Earlier this year, they said, you know what? We want to step into fleet. So we want to actually provide not only the service of moving, but the trucks of moving. Okay, like natural progression, easy next pivot step. That makes sense. So what would he do? Well, there's 2 options, right? Like, so he could either go and purchase all of this fleet with all of this money they've got as a successful tech startup, or he could take a step back and take the hard way, right? Which would be the hustle. So rather than buying like all of these trucks and getting depreciating assets on the books and talking to investors about it and yada, 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 he simply said this. On the form when you sign up to get a bellhop to move you, and ask, would you like us to include the truck? Okay, so lots of people said, yes, I would love that. Well, here's where the hustle came into play. Those bellhops, those who are out there helping people move, had to physically go to the nearest U-Haul place, right? Sign off the waiver form, and those of you who have done U-Haul, you know that like this is a kind of a pain. Sign off the waiver form, get the keys, take the truck, fill the truck back up. Okay, it's got to be on full when you drop it off, God forbid. Take it, drop it off, drop the keys in the Dropbox, go home, and then do it all over the next day, right? Like that is a logistics nightmare and a liability nightmare. Like that, you can't scale that, okay? There's no way you can scale that. But Cam didn't care, all right? Like he could have cared less about the ability to scale that. What he was doing was trying to catch attention, trying to create a splash, and trying to gain traction. And again, he caught attention by asking, like, would you like this? Created a splash by people loving the overall service, not just the high-five service that was along with it, but the fleet that came with it. And again, if you're just joining, we're talking about the hustle right here, okay? But lastly, he created traction, okay? He created traction by doing it that way. And now he has a partnership with people who own their own fleet, and he just uses their fleet as a part of the business. My phone is in my back pocket getting blown up right now. Sorry about that. So again, we're talking about the true like definition of the hustle. So the hustle is not you staying up at 2 a.m. Granted, that is hustle. Like that's tough work. You have to do it. I do it. I'm about to leave here in 5 minutes, and I've got 2 or 3 blogs to write tonight. I just would be happy to write 2 of them. But again, Paul Graham has told Cam Duty this, and Cam Duty was just on our podcast. Paul Graham is the founder of Startup Accelerator and seed capital firm Y Combinator. Paul Graham says that doing the hustle, like what the hustle actually is doing something that does not scale, okay? And don't worry about like getting caught up in the fact that you're working on something that you can't scale. That's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. So long as you're focusing on generating revenue, right? That's number 1. I hope that you're doing that. But 2, creating attention, creating a splash and gaining traction. If you can do those 3 things while doing the hustle, you're nailing it. I want to challenge you on that. Like, don't freak out when you say, I'm pulling my hair out. Like, I can't scale this. It's not going to scale. I'm worried about it. The scalability is just not there. I give up. I'm done. Okay, stop. And I want to read this excerpt from Paul Graham because I think this is really important. Again, Paul Graham has consulted some of the top businesses out there. Okay, the guy knows what he's talking about. So listen, this is straight off of his website, paulgraham.com. He says, one of the most common types of advice we give at Y Combinator is to do things that don't scale. Okay, that's the hustle. A lot of would-be founders believe that startups either take off or they don't. And I agree with that. Like, a lot of people say, well, they had the right resources, or they had the money, or they had the tech, or they had the partnerships. That's bullcrap. And Paul says it right here. He says, actually, startups take off because the founders make them take off. Okay? Startups take off because the founders make them take off. The two guys who founded Airbnb, they weren't worried about scalability when they went to those apartments, 1,000 apartments, and took photos of them. Okay? You can't scale that. That's very clear. But they knew that they would like create a splash, get attention, and gain some traction out of that. So it was worth their time. So if you think I'm wrong, I want to challenge you to comment below, whether you're on Facebook watching this or whether you're like years and years from now watching this on YouTube, which hopefully through net neutrality you still can. But whether you're watching this on YouTube years from now or you're on Facebook, I want you to comment on this. Like, do you think I'm wrong? Do you think the hustle is something that can't scale? Or do you think the hustle is just gritty and nitty and getting it done? Do you think that you should only focus on things that you can scale? I think you're wrong. Paul Graham thinks you're wrong. Cam Duty thinks you're wrong. But, I'm up to hear your opinion on this. So tell me below what you think about the hustle and what you think about focusing on things that can't scale when you're starting, okay? Just get out there and remember, guys, don't get into a rut. Don't get into the ditches. Like, focus on what you're doing. Don't get upset. Don't get sidetracked. Number one, your mentality has got to be right here. So I asked you this, and I say all of these things about the hustle because I know it can be frustrating, all right? You're working on a side gig, and our goal at Millennivator is to get your side hustle and turn it into your full-time job, or just give you the freedom to choose to do that on your own, right? Some people aren't built for entrepreneurship, and they don't want it. But I know where you are, and I know it can be very difficult to hustle through this stuff and think, dude, there's no way I can get through this. Like, it's just me, man. I'm a solo shop. I'm having to do this and that and this and that. But look, the entrepreneurs who get there, compared to the entrepreneurs who would just want to be there, they get it done. They hustle through it. So my challenge for you in this 12-minute video, I have got to go, is to determine what that hustle is for you and get out there and execute it. Don't think about the scalability. Don't think about how much of a pain in the it is. Just get out there and do it. That is what I'm challenging you with today, and I hope that you have a fantastic day, a fantastic week, and you blow this month, this quarter, this year out of the water. For anything that we can do to help, head over to millennivator.com. We've got all sorts of tips, tricks, tools, resources there for you. Otherwise, get out there and hustle, dude. What the heck are you doing? We'll see you next time.